Okay. Alright, what's up, everybody? In the hizzy. I'm literally live streaming on Facebook today. So it's like people that I'm old Facebook friends with can pop into the live stream. And that would be great. Now let's see here. Okay, that's gonna flip the direction of the camera. Comments will appear here. Yeah, so my goal is to become a live streaming host, and hopefully, you know, we're gonna have some fun. So I'm live streaming on 4 different platforms, and I'm not going to name any of the platforms for the sake of violating some sort of terms and conditions that they might have. Wish I could mirror this screen. What's this button do? Add option 2. No. What's this button do? Request, audience. What's this button do? New. And that's just a comment button, so I can type comments. There's more controls there. Effects, enhance, text, flash off, rotate. No, I don't want to rotate. I want to mirror. Now, what can we do over here? That will rotate the screen, and of course, there are 0 people in the room. Oh, hey, we got scroll for old comments. You are now live. Yes, I know I'm live. And okay, it looks like I'm just not gonna be able to mirror that. Okay. So, okay, what do I want to talk about today? I want to talk about Tartaria. Okay? Like, what is going on with Tartaria? Like, how do we know that Tartaria was the millennial kingdom? Alright, first off, I am learning about this subject. I'm piecing it together. You know, it's a big puzzle for me. And my greatest fear is that we are all wrong, and Tartaria and all those buildings are nothing but plaster and, covering a wooden skeleton. Okay? And, because these buildings exist in every major city, every major town. They might not exist in like little country towns. Okay, like new developments that are mostly just, it's like just buildings made of wood and stuff. So the Tartaria buildings that exist right now, where I live, there's a mud-flooded building called Carnegie Hall. There's so much stuff that is absolutely mud-flooded. The evidence is just all around us. It is mind-blowing whenever you look at these buildings with new eyes. So, it's just, the thing is that people want to attach Tartaria and the mud floods. For me, it's like 3 different subjects: Tartaria, mud floods, and meltology. Okay, there's also erosion. Okay, that's a third one. Okay, but the third one is more of the mainstream thing, because, however, erosion can take place. It actually does take place way faster than what they tell us, because we have stone statues that were absolutely. I mean, well, we don't even have to make them in the 1800s or make them 100 years ago. They could have just been there. Okay, 100 years ago, we snap a photo of it, and then we compare the photo that was taken 100 years ago to the photo today, and the statue is clearly eroded. It is clearly just been affected by the elements, and it's just like it's like not in the same condition. It actually looks more like a rock, just a big rock in some condition, in some situations. It's like 100 years ago, it looked like a nice statue, but today it looks, because of erosion and everything, it's been sitting there just exposed to the elements, and it looks like just a big rock. So it's like, erosion is also one of the elements that comes with the subject of Tartaria. And so that would be the fourth thing, like, with meltology, and then there was the like, how did they end up the way they did today? How did they get destroyed? Meltology, mud floods, and Tartaria. The subject of Tartaria is just that it was all one big like empire or something like that at one time, and it wasn't a whole bunch of nations, because everybody's building the same things. Everybody's building the same buildings all over the place, all over the world. I mean, like, there's places over in China that you can go to, and it looks like you're in the middle of Greece. And but then there's a bunch of buildings that looks like that I can think of that doesn't match anywhere else in the world. But that you should expect to find that. But what you shouldn't expect to find is buildings that you walk into a certain area and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm in the middle of Greece, or in the middle of Rome, or in the middle of the Persian Empire, or the Babylonian Empire. They all look the same, and that sort of thing. And so it's on all six continents. All six continents that are currently mostly populated with humans. Not talking about Antarctica. Okay, and the Earth is flat, by the way. Antarctica is not a continent. Antarctica is it's a beach, a giant beach that surrounds us, and then it extends out a long ways, and you get to water again, and then you find more continents beyond that. And I believe eventually you find a dome. I believe that there is a dome beyond that. We are enclosed in a dome. Okay, I believe that. But anyways, so I'm convinced about that. And let me see here. Uh-oh. I just knocked myself off of Facebook. Let's see here. Get back to Facebook. Okay, gotta get that going again. So anyways, so the whole Tartaria thing, and then people connect that to the Millennial Kingdom. Now, the Millennial Kingdom, that is, in my opinion, that is a stretch. Okay? Yeah, so the thing is about the Millennial Kingdom. I wrote up something on it the other day. I'm fixing to go over that right now. Okay. All right, let's see here. Let me just find it real quick. Is that it? Wait, there it is. Okay. All right, so here's what I wrote up. It ties to the Millennial Kingdom. It ties to Scripture, and like the timeline for the Millennial Kingdom is, oh man. Okay, anyways. Let's see if I can just do this. Okay, this right here. Okay, so here's the timeline. All right. This is the official mainstream narrative. And of course, we are talking about multiple timelines. Whenever we're talking, I mean, like alternative views of history, which would be the equivalent of the multiverse. Okay, so you've got what we have is multiple views of history, and in these in the multiverse. We got the mainstream narrative, okay? Mainstream narrative teaches that, and I've got my thing. I've got my chart for the mainstream narrative. I'm using it right now for something. Maybe if I could find something to replace that with real quick. Nope. Could use that. But anyways, I'd have to restructure the whole thing. Okay, so let's just get back to this. Okay. Yeah, so the mainstream narrative. Okay, so this is what I consider to be the first timeline of history, and we're gonna approximately 20 billion years ago, we have the Big Bang, and you've got the 6 stages of evolution that have to take place. And of course, I'm a big fan of Kent Hovind, so he says that you can divide the 6 the all the time that's taken place, all the evolution that's taken place, you could divide it into 6 phases. Okay, the first phase of evolution would be like at the Big Bang, and that's called cosmic evolution. Let's see here. You are correct. All right, thank you. Snail? Does that say snail? Let's see here. I think I can make that bigger. No, SNA. Snafu. You are correct. Okay. All right. Thanks for the vote of confidence. Yes, Snafu. SNA Fu. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Cool name. Yeah. So, anyways, So you've got cosmic evolution, which is the Big Bang. Okay, and that's the first phase of evolution. The second phase of evolution goes from you have to have the elements form. Okay, and the elements and the chemical compounds, and that would be chemical evolution. All right, and then all the chemicals they evolve. Okay, and they get together and they congeal and they form gas clouds, and gas clouds start forming rocks, and rocks start congealing, and dust clouds and gas clouds, and you got all these forces at work, and um, you got the, and so you got from cosmic evolution to chemical evolution. You then have stellar evolution, okay, and in all the elements get together and they start to form all the chemical compounds, and they start getting together and forming rocks and liquids and gases, and they start hitting each other, and it's just all chaotic and everything. But eventually the chaos comes to an end, and an order starts to appear. It's the order is you start to have planets orbiting, and stars and comets and black holes and wormholes and quasars and pulsars and binary stars and galaxies, and it's like all these, and then you get all the different kinds of galaxies. You got spiral galaxies, and you got the galaxies that have lost their spiral shape, and anyways, that's all stellar evolution, okay? And finally you get solar systems, and you get planets orbiting suns, and then the sun finally, starts to shine on the planet, and the rocks, and the planet is just a big molten ball for a long time, and finally the surface of the planet cools, and then you got it finally cools, and then you got the formation of, and then comets hit the planet bringing water and everything, and then ice, and then eventually the ice melts into liquid water, and then it evaporates, and then it starts creating an atmosphere, and then it starts raining on the earth, and it rains on the earth for millions and millions of years, and maybe even a few billion years, and while the Earth is orbiting the sun, and all the other planets are also having their own evolution, and then they let's see, and at that point, once you finally get it raining for long enough on the rocks, okay, then you start to have a primordial goo that starts to develop. Explain anything scientific. Wait, no curve, no globe. Welcome to level topographical existence. Yeah, right now I'm going over multiverse. Okay, I'm going over timelines. And how does rain work? Okay, so anyways, if you're in the room and you're wondering, okay, look, lies in the textbooks. Where have you heard of lies in the textbooks before? You should probably know about Kent Hovind. I'm naming my live stream, I'm naming my stuff after his ministry. His seminar number 3. I'm a creationist and I'm a flat earther. Let's see here, I got people in the comments. Let's see here. Can you explain how any science actually works? Or do you just spit rhetoric? I am just spitting rhetoric right now. Yes, it's called Kent Hovind. Yeah, Kent Hovind. Yeah, that's right. So y'all know about Kent Hovind. Yes, what I am doing is a spin-off of it's not approved. Not approved. Okay? Me and Kent, I am friends with Kent Hovind. He is not my friend, however. Okay, he doesn't like me. All right, because I'm a flat earther. So Kent Hovind is beyond a joke. We know. Okay, great. Earth is a little less than 6,000 years old. I am on your team. I'm just going over the evolution timeline. Okay? And I'm having fun doing it. So, anyways, let me get back to this. Yeah, I know y'all. I guess y'all want to talk and everything, but let me just let's see here. Kent Hovind, tax fraud, wife beating, charlatan. That's Kent. I don't believe any of that. Anyways, okay. All right. See, I know Kent. I've met him in person. He's a minister. Okay. And I think that what you are doing is taking what you have heard and taking it out of context. Okay, and you are categorizing it wrong. Anyways, okay, I'm not here to defend Kent Hovind. All right, so where did we leave off? We left off with we're about to have what is called organic evolution. All right, so organic evolution is whenever life all of a sudden evolves out of this primordial ooze. And how do you get the primordial ooze? What is it, the black goo? Okay, so anyways, you got this primordial ooze that has it rained on the rocks, broke up the rocks, and for millions of years, and the rocks heated up, and they all mixed, and then finally at this one particular point, you got this. It forms a primordial ooze. The lightning hits, and you have your first life, which is called organic evolution. All right, so that's phase number 4 of evolution. You have organic evolution, non-life to life. Let's see here. The rocks came alive. Exactly. The rocks came alive. That's what evolution teaches. Yep. Evolutionists believe that they evolved from a rock. No lie. So, that's what they believe. Yep. So anyways, you got all the evolution happening, organic evolution. Okay, that's stage 4 of evolution. Okay, stage 5 of evolution. Stage 5 is going from the evolution of life to the evolution of complex life. So you got like single-celled organism. You got a very non-complex single-celled organism, and then you got to go from single-celled to double-celled to multi-celled organisms, and then complex life forms, and you can start off thinking breaking that down with farm. So it evolves into fish, and then fish, amphibians, reptiles, mammals. Okay, and so you got evolution all happening. Fish, amphibian, reptiles, mammals. Okay, and then one day the fish come on land and they start evolving, and then you got land creatures going back into the water, and then that's how you get whales. You got cows going back into the water, and that's how you get whales, and you got just and you got all these different life forms just evolving, over the course of millions and millions of years. And finally, you get to the point where you got cousins starting to branch off, and you got a monkey-like creature evolves, and an ape-like creature, evolves, and then eventually, some ape creature gets smart enough, and it gets the random idea one day to pick up a bone and smash the other bones, and then it starts going around killing people, and then you have the evolution of humans. What is that called whenever you got divergence happening? And speciation and that sort of thing. It's the sixth phase of evolution, called variation. I skipped the fifth stage. The fifth stage was called micro or macro evolution. Okay, yeah. So you go from organic evolution to macro evolution. So you got it. The difference between organic evolution is non-life to life. Macro evolution, the fifth stage of evolution is life. To an example of macroevolution would be a one-celled organism evolving into a new, totally different two-celled organism. Just they can't reproduce. You got a one-celled organism, and then you got a multi-celled organism that's consisting of a whole bunch of cells, and that's a totally different organism from the one-celled organism, totally different from the two-celled organism, and so that is macro evolution. And then eventually you got fish, you got all this fish, and then you got amphibians, and then you got invertebrates, and you got vertebrates, and it's like all these, all these are basically cousins, but they are parts of they are in populations where one population can't produce with this other population, can't reproduce with this other population, and that's microevolution. And then you've got that was macro evolution, and then you've got the sixth phase of evolution, which is microevolution. Okay, and microevolution would be like you got a wolf, and you got a cat. No, I'm sorry. A wolf and a cat would be like macroevolution. Okay, a life form evolves into a wolf, and then it evolves into a cat. That's macroevolution. Microevolution would be like you've got a wolf and you've got a Chihuahua, and you've got a Great Dane. You go from a wolf to the Basset Hound. You go from a wolf to the German Shepherd. Okay, yeah. Jesus is Lord. Yes, he is. That's right. Cosmic, chemical, stellar, organic, macro, and micro. First five are religious. Absolutely. Okay. So that's where we are today. Now, the people who are in charge are trying to push evolution and make it happen faster by introducing transhumanism and merging us with robots and merging us with AI and merging us with all kinds of these stupid stuff. So, wow, I've got zero interaction on X. That's okay. I need to make some posts on that one. Everybody, in case you're wondering, it's lies in the text. Wait, is that right? No. It's not lies in the textbooks across the field. I need to get it that way though. So, anyways, it's lies in the textbooks. So, if you want to look me up, it's lies in the textbooks. Yeah. So, anyways, Uh, on every platform, pretty much. Not every platform. Anyways, I'm Grant F.E. Phillips. If you want to find me over on FB, Facebook. Okay. So, anyways, let's see here. What Bible says? Flat Earth, truth. Yes, yes. I'm on your team. Flat Earth, truth. Now, what I'm trying to get to is, okay. So that's okay. Everything I just discussed is timeline number 1. Okay. Now, and all the mainstream history takes place in that timeline. Okay. Now there is a second timeline. All right. Hey, what's up, Nolan and Joni? Hey, hey. Okay, now there is a second timeline, okay, to all this. The second timeline is creation science, okay? It's the timeline that you will learn about from Kent Hovind, okay? And you can think of it as a multiverse. I like multiverse. Okay, tells me something. Maybe multiverse is bad. I don't know. Maybe it's bad, but in my opinion, multiverse is fun. Okay, I think that multiverse does exist. I think multiple dimensions do exist. Absolutely. So multiverse, probably exists also. Our God is an infinite God, and anything that you can imagine, I believe that God can also imagine it, and God probably has created it, but God, has probably there's on some level there is every imaginable thing that you can imagine, God has imagined it, and He has probably executed it in the infinite past at some point, and there's all sorts. I mean, like just the creation that an infinite God with an infinite mind, what He can do, okay, can easily be expressed with multiversal, multidimensional, theoretical science. It's all theory, Okay, it's like we don't actually have any evidence that multiverse is true. But I think that, why not? It's like, an infinite creator with an infinite mind, He can create different different universes that all operates on different rules, different laws of physics, and whatever He wants. Okay? So, heaven. Okay, so this. Let's look at another timeline. Okay, let's see. Like for instance, another timeline. Is okay. Yeah. Let's just look at the creation science timeline, and I'm using my creation science timeline as a prop. This is so bad. And I have to readjust everything that I set up in order to undo that. It'd take a major. I'd have to stop the live stream. So, okay. So creation science timeline. 6,000 years. All right. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was put on the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And in 6 days, you've got man and woman, and all the animals, and all the plants, and all the fish and birds, and everything created in 6 literal physical days and nights. He didn't do anything at night, but it could be argued that it was nighttime before he created light. Maybe. Anyways, so yeah, that was all approximately 6,000 years ago. Let's see here. Impossible. And yeah, don't forget to Snafu. Awesome, bro. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you too, Snafu. Yeah, don't forget to hit that follow button. Okay, so Mr. Roy Hansen says that the Bible timeline, creation science timeline, is impossible. Okay, flood was 4,400 years ago, or so. 44 or so years ago, 4,400 years ago, not 44,000. And the Earth. Okay, and then somebody else says the Earth is 4.5 billion years old. Yes, that is the mainstream timeline of history. 4.5 billion years is the correct mainstream timeline of history. Okay. However, the Bible provides us with a totally separate timeline for history. Okay, it's a multiverse, yo. It's a multiverse. We're going full multiverse in this live stream. Okay, and the Bible teaches that creation happened in approximately 6 literal physical days. Sun, night, morning, day, night, 6 days, okay? 24-hour days, okay? Let's see. Long ago and far away, the evolutionist Bible is time. Yeah. They interject time as their secret ingredient for evolution being possible. Yeah. Alternate facts. No, not alternate facts. Theories. Evolution is a theory. Okay. Okay, so you've got 6,000 years ago, God creates the heavens and the earth. You got Adam and Eve. They have a whole bunch of kids. Their kids. Every 12 to 13 years. Okay, let's say these kids that were born from Adam and Eve had the best genetics. Okay, they were at the top of the genetic spectrum. Okay, there was nothing wrong with these kids. They were living in a world with more atmosphere. They were living in a world with more everything, more food. Okay, it was not a destroyed world. All right, and that's what I'm here today to talk about. Tartaria. Okay, we can get into Tartaria and talk about, okay, what was things like before Noah's flood? Guess what? There's a bunch of people who believe in Tartaria, and I think that God created the world to be inhabited just like the Bible teaches. All right, let's see here. Explain dinosaurs. No, we had dragons. Behemoth, Leviathan. We had dinosaurs are part of the evolutionary myth. Dinosaurs would be multiversal creatures, part of the evolutionary timeline. They are not biblical creatures. They are not part of the 6,000-year-old timeline. Okay, in the 6,000-year timeline with biblical creatures, we got dragons and Leviathan and Behemoth and tons of all the fairy tale creatures. I believe unicorns. Unicorns existed. Unicorns are in the Bible. All the fairy tale creatures. Eventually, you got Nephilim and you got giants and you got. I believe that giants were humans. Okay, I believe that the longer you lived, you didn't need like fallen angel DNA to become a giant. I believe that the longer you lived, like back then in the pre-flood world, the bigger you got. Everything grows to be the size that its environment will allow it to. That's how it is today. Everything stops growing whenever its environment will not allow it to grow anymore. That is the thing. So giants were, we had, everything was gigantic. Everything. They had more oxygen. The plants were at the beginning of the genetic spectrum. At the beginning of time, at the beginning of history, the Bible timeline. Okay. What up, man? Flat Earth. Ooh. Deplorable. Yeah. What's up, Flat Earth Deplorable? Okay. Let's see here. And Jimmy B says the dome hadn't cracked yet then. Hence the higher pressure, such as oxygen levels were higher. Yes. Okay, that's right. Now, I don't believe that the dome cracked. The Bible says the dome had windows in it. Go look up in the Bible. In Genesis, I think it's Genesis chapter 7. Now, this is just off the top of my head. Genesis chapter 7. The Bible says that the firmament had windows in it. And it says in Genesis chapter 7 that the windows open to allow water to come crashing through, and it's filling up the flat earth, and all the water is level, right? Okay, so it's rising up, flooding, and just water destroying everything, man. Okay, everything gets destroyed during Noah's flood. Everything is just obliterated. It's covered up by mud. It's I believe that there was a lot of melting also, because you've got water coming up from underneath the earth. And if you got water coming up from underneath the earth, then what are you going to have? It's superheated because it's under pressure. You've got really hot water coming from underneath the earth. So what's it going to do? It's going to melt the rock. So there you go. Meltology. All right. Let's see. Dome won't open until Jesus comes back. Yeah. The Bible says that the heavens will open up as a scroll, and so I'm with you on that. That's that's biblical timeline, and I am a major proponent. Yes, biblical timeline. That's the truth. Okay. So, anyways, we're going over this. What else? So yeah, like I said, the firmament has windows. Okay, and they open, they close. In Genesis 7, it says they open. I think in Genesis 8, I said 11 earlier. I'm thinking it's one chapter later. In Genesis 8, the windows close. Okay. So anyways, that's... And before the flood, why did God send the flood? Because he wanted to kill off all the Nephilim. Alright? So, all the Nephilim... Okay, you got the angels that fell from heaven. Okay, and what do we believe that angels are? Alright, according to... Now, there are two mainstream timelines. Okay, there's a multiverse. Okay, just understand multiversal principles. Alright? It's all theory. But, okay, what does Kent Hovind teach? Alright, Kent Hovind is on the side of the evolutionists with this issue. Kent Hovind agrees with the evolutionists that the stars we see in the sky are big balls of fire and gas, and planets, are actually these big rocks that you can fly out to, and if you have a rocket and you can you can land on planets, and you can start populating the planet if you wanted to, and you can bring some dinosaurs along with you. So, anyways, you got the Kent Hovind / evolutionist timeline, because Kent Hovind believes a lot of the same stuff that evolutionists believe. So, however, what do flat earthers believe? Flat earthers believe that the lights we see in the sky are luminaries. They are angels. Okay. They claim stars are suns. Yes, that's right. And that's right. Or flat earth deplorable. Yes. They claim stars are suns. And then Jake Loves Geology says, are you in a school? No, I'm not in a school. I've already got my college degree. I already finished school. So there you have it right there. So anyways, let's see here. What else is there? Yeah, the angel. Where did I leave off? The angels, the stars are angels. And this is evidenced in Scripture whenever you read about stars in the Bible. Okay? The fallen angels, they came down from the sky, and stars are always used interchangeably whenever referencing angels. Just go look in whenever the Bible says that the angels they cheered whenever God had completed his creation. It never says that God created the angels in his 6 days of creation. However, sang as in, yes, they sang, yes. Okay, who's trying to join in? Yeah, I'm not trying to do anything right now. Not trying to have any guests right now, because I'm trying to record all this. So, okay, so the angels they sang, but the Bible never says that God created angels. However, whenever you do your research, you sort of figure out that angels are often called stars. The Bible talks about the Pleiades, and there was a lot of stuff happening there was something happening with the Pleiades, and then whenever the angel, I think Michael, the archangel, was trying to get his message to Daniel. Okay, if anybody knows which story I'm talking about, and I think it was Daniel. He had to wait for a while the angel was, fighting with other angels in the firmament area amongst the stars. Okay, so they were trying to keep him. He had to fight them off to get his message to Daniel. Does anybody know that story? Okay, he is struggling to talk. He can't take guests. No, I can take it. Well, no, it's not that I'm struggling to talk. I guess I am struggling to talk. But I'm just piecing this together in my head at the moment, and I'm trying to record a video while I'm doing this. So I'm going live, and I'm recording this video because I want to upload it to YouTube. As a matter of fact, let me check my video to make sure it's still recording. And it is. I've been going for 51 minutes already. Crazy. Okay, so, anyways. Wait, I need to bring that back. Oh, crap. Did I just mess it up? Nope. Okay, we're good. Okay, yeah, no guests right now, okay? No guests right now, because I'm trying to piece together this story. And all this, I'm trying to piece together a video that I'm going to upload to YouTube. Let's see. Colossians 1:16 through 20, all things created. Okay, yeah. How did the earth, how old is the earth, my boy? According to evolution, it's about 4.6 billion years old. According to creation science, it's 6,000 years old. And I'm on the creation science timeline. I agree with creation science. And I'm about to reveal another timeline once I get done explaining the creation science timeline. I'm about to reveal a third possible timeline. Imagine not believing modern science. Yeah, I don't agree with modern scientists. Okay, I believe science. If you do a scientific, if you create a scientific experiment and you can reproduce the same results with that experiment every single time, I believe that. That's science. So I agree with scientists, but I agree with science, but I don't agree with all scientists. Okay, that's a big difference. And believing in angels. Yes, I absolutely believe in angels. We are not the only intelligent beings that God created. I believe that God actually created many other intelligent beings. However, I don't know. There's a chance that all the other intelligent beings are either fallen angels or they are Nephilim. The Bible doesn't actually say he created any intelligent beings except for the angels and us. And then there were the Nephilim, which were hybrid creatures, and they were abominations that God did not intend on interjecting into his creation. How old is the earth? The earth is approximately 6,000 years old, and that's according to the biblical timeline. Evolution teaches that the earth is approximately 4.6 billion years old. I am on the creationist timeline. I do not accept that the earth is 4.6 billion years old. Okay? How you explain lead? How do you explain lead? Like the metal? Anyways, that's a different topic. Let's see. You honestly think stars are angels? Yes, I do believe that stars are beings that were commanded to hold their place. It's mentioned in 2 Peter 2:4, I think. 2:4 through 6, where it talks about the creatures that did not remain in their estate, and they left the place where they were meant to be, and those are the same creatures that's mentioned in Genesis 6. Real science, not pseudoscience, that doesn't use scientific method. Yes, I'm a fan of the scientific method. Yes, okay. What evidence does young Earth have? Okay, so let's get in. I'll get into that. Okay, so the Earth. Okay, so the timeline is you've got approximately 6,000 years ago. You've got the creation event, and then approximately 1,600 years after that, you've got Noah's flood. Now, why do we believe that Noah's flood? Well, okay. The Bible gives us the time scale. The reason that we believe that Noah's flood happened after 1,600 years after the creation event is because of the biblical because of the biblical things that happen. Not the biblical things that happen, but the people. We know how long they lived before the flood. And it gives us these dates. Adam lived to be 900, dude lived to be 800, dude lived to be 700, dude lived to be, 950. Okay. All right. And, in Methuselah, he lived to be the longest, and he died like 1 week before the flood or something like that. And and then you got Enoch. He lived like 350 years or some crap, and then he got taken by God before the flood. Anyways, you got these dates, and you've got an absolute date after the creation of the earth. Got the absolute date of approximately. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. It's not the creation of the earth. I believe that in Genesis chapter 3, Adam and Eve were in the garden for a while. I think that they were in the garden for a while before any children got conceived. Okay? So it was after Adam and Eve ate the fruit. So you've got Adam and Eve, they ate the fruit, and then 1,600 years after that, you got Noah's flood. Okay? So, 1,600 years after that. Now, how long has it been since Noah's flood? Now, I told you the earth is about 6,000 years old. And I'm about to tell you why I think the earth is still approximately 6,000 years old. Number one, we have human history, all of recorded human history, all of writing, suddenly popped up on the scene approximately 4,000 years ago, right after the flood. 5,000 years ago, 6,000 years, they come up with different dates, but it's approximately right after the flood. All of written human history. I'm not talking about cave paintings and stuff. Okay, we have cave paintings too, but I don't believe that they're dating those right. Okay, man, I wish I could read all y'all's comments, but I'm never gonna get done saying what I want to say if I'm reading everybody's comments. So you have no evidence. You have this pamphlet. The pamphlet takes the dates from the Bible and puts them on a time chart. And anyways, okay. That's the only way that we know what happened before Noah's flood. The Bible tells us what happened before Noah's flood, okay? So you've got, let me see here. Number one, you've got the language. All of a sudden, pops on the screen, on the scene of human history, approximately 4,000 or 5,000 years ago. Okay, oldest writings that we have, no older than 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 years old. Okay. Somebody thinks that is incorrect. There isn't that many comments. The pyramids is older. The pyramids is older than 6,000 years old. When were the pyramids built? The pyramids would have been built before Noah's flood. They would have been pre-flood structures. And there are a lot of actual structures that would have survived Noah's flood. Any structure that's made out of stone would have survived Noah's flood. And whenever I say survived Noah's flood, I'm not saying that it, maintained its integrity. I'm just saying that there's still clearly a structure there. And like the pyramids, the flood, destroyed their use, the usage, like whatever we were using them for before Noah's flood, the flood destroyed that, and we haven't been able to use, and we totally lost what they were used for before Noah's flood. Okay, and and of course, you got secret alien, or not secret, ancient alien experts who are coming back, and they are saying that the pyramids were energy, that like devices, free energy devices. So that's what they say on ancient aliens. Let's see, that's a lie. Okay. Oh, I know, that's a lie. We study the actual Earth, not a pamphlet. Study the actual Earth. Okay, that's a lie. How did the kangaroos get back to Australia when they... Okay, right after Noah's flood, the water was much lower. The water level was much lower. Okay? And right after Noah's flood, there's obviously, like, I don't know this for sure, but I think we can reasonably state that the Ice Age, which wasn't really an age at all, it just lasted a while, for right after Noah's flood. It's like a lot of the Earth was actually covered over with ice. More of the Earth was covered with ice at the North Pole and the South Poles. Okay, so you've got all this ice, all this frozen water, and as it melts, it runs off and starts filling up the oceans. So you've got the ocean after Noah's flood. The Noah's flood goes down to reveal land, because the whole Earth was covered. Okay? But you got ice that's left. You've got seasons. For the first time in human history, we've got seasons. And the seasons, the 4 seasons. So you got winter, and then you got summer, and then you got fall and spring. And Noah's flood, during Noah's flood, we would have had these big... That would be like the Ice Age, right after Noah's flood. I mean, like, everything was thrown off. Okay, so you end up with a whole lot of ice after Noah's flood, and all the ice melts. And it starts to, and the water levels are lower after Noah's flood. Now, where did the water go after Noah's flood? It just It was just, it took, Noah was out there for about a year, okay, after Noah's flood. He was out there for about a year before the ark finally rested, and the Bible says the waters receded after Noah's flood, so they receded. So the whole earth began its stabilization process. And the waters went down, and let's see here. Okay, how did the kangaroos... Okay, yeah, I'm trying to explain the kangaroo thing. All right? The waters all went down, and the kangaroos would have crossed over with Noah on the ark. Okay? So they all start out wherever Noah landed, wherever his boat landed, and the Bible says in the mountains of Ararat. Okay? And so whenever Noah's flood starts going down, all the animals exit the boat. Noah exits the boat with his family, and they start spreading out. They follow their food around the world. So Noah's flood, it receded, and you've got to have more water starting to fill in the oceans. Where did that water come from? Well, as Noah's flood receded, it left behind a bunch of ice that formed at the North Pole. There had to be way more ice at the North Pole. And so, I don't know, maybe 100 years or something, for a while, you've got the ice melting. And, but before the ice all melts to where it is, to the levels that it's at today, you've got the water level where it's low enough that you have land bridges all over the world connecting all the continents. So all the animals and all the people are able to travel across the whole world, and they're able to go to Australia, they're able to go to the United States, and South America. They're able, I mean, like, and eventually that's where you get all the Indians here in the United States and that sort of thing. So, I've been going for an hour now, so forgive me while I'm piecing this together in my mind. So anyways, that's how the kangaroos can cross over to over to Australia. Okay. Let's see. There's no geological evidence of a worldwide flood. There's no Yeah, that's the mainstream narrative right there. The evolutionists, that's the evolutionary teaching, that there's no, that, and of course that's ridiculous. There's evidence all over. I mean, there's evidence that the pyramids were underwater at one point. You're going to tell me there was no evidence of the worldwide flood? There's evidence. There's seashells in the closed position found on Mount Everest. And you're going to tell me there's no evidence of Mount Everest was underwater at one point. Okay? Everest? No, Mount Everest. Okay? So anyways, okay, you've got, and also the Bible says the whole world was covered by water, so the mountains were rising and falling, and the land was shifting and cracking up, and all the mountains are being formed and everything. Okay. So, anyways, number two, the second reason that we believe that the flood happened approximately 4,400 years ago is the world's oldest tree. The world's oldest tree, and I don't know if it's the oldest living organism, because they might have found some bacteria or something that they claim is way older. But the world's oldest living tree only dates back approximately 4,300 years. Okay? So, I gotta fix this next time. So you've got the world's oldest living tree dating back approximately 4,400 years. If there was no flood, then we should have an older tree somewhere. So the bristlecone pine tree is the world's oldest tree, dated to approximately 4,300 years old. Now there's some sort of tree ring dating and stuff that throws off, like, makes you really, not sure how old it is, but most people, I think most scientists agree that the bristlecone pine tree has been alive for approximately 4,300 years. And if Noah's flood happened approximately 4,400 years ago, then we would have, if it didn't happen, then we would have a bigger tree somewhere. Okay? Then we have the world's, you got the world's oldest tree, you got the Great Barrier Reef. They've been able to, they have studied it, they've been watching it for years. Great Barrier Reef off the coast of Australia. It's the world's biggest reef, and they've been studying it for years, and they have determined that it grows, I don't know what, or how fast the Great Barrier Reef grows per year, but they've determined that it grows at a certain rate per year, and whenever you take that back, you figure out that the Great Barrier Reef can't be any older than approximately 4,300 years old. Just like the bristlecone pine tree. So, you've got the Great Barrier Reef. Then you've got Sahara Desert. Why don't we have a bigger desert? The Sahara Desert is growing. I do know the rate for this one. The Sahara Desert is growing at approximately 4 miles per year. Now that's crazy. That's crazy considering where does all this sand come from? It's like, it's called desertification, where the land becomes sand. It's like you've got fertile soil that slowly, I don't know, dries up and becomes sand. Is the Sahara Desert actually covered by sand? Or is it just like a desert with just extremely dry but fertile soil? I don't know the answer to that. Anyways, if you're in the comments and you know the answer to that, let me know. Let's see. We got Damaris. I've heard stars are angels too. Hey, Damaris. Yeah, I was talking about stars 30 minutes ago. So, let's see. Oh man, my thing hasn't been updating. So let's see here. So the bristlecone pine tree, Sahara Desert, Great Barrier Reef, all approximately the same age. All right? Why don't we have an older tree? Why don't we have a bigger desert? Why don't we have a bigger reef? Okay? If the Noah's flood didn't destroy the whole world, we would have a bigger tree. We would have a bigger desert. We would have a bigger Great Barrier Reef somewhere. Okay? Evidence number 4 is rivers all around the world. Okay? Rivers form deltas, and they wash away they wash away the land. So rivers all over the world form deltas, and they can look at these deltas and determine, hey, these deltas are getting bigger. Every year they're getting bigger, and they can figure out the growth rate of the deltas. And if you take the deltas back approximately, they figure out that the deltas, they would have gotten started easily 4,300 years ago, just like the Bible says for Noah's flood. Let's see here. The Finke River in Australia is generally considered the oldest river in the world, estimated to be 366 million years old. How big is its delta? And how long does it take? What's the growth rate of that delta? Do you know? So if it's, flowing into the ocean, then the delta has to be growing, and it's got to have a growth rate. Deltas form due to a process of deposition, and water currents. All right. Yep. Yep. Okay. So, and we're not interested with what the process is. We're interested in how long the delta takes to grow. The Amazon River is one of the biggest rivers in the world, and it's not laying down a big delta. So, yeah, that's interesting. I don't know what's happening with that one, but I do know the Nile River has a delta, the Mississippi River has a delta. So, let's see. It's because it's pouring into an ocean with rapid currents. Okay. Yeah. So the currents would wash away all the debris and silt. They're releasing their sediments in a slower rate into a calmer body of water. Delta Airlines has a delta. Delta Airlines has a delta. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so that makes sense. Yeah, so the delta of the Mississippi River, the delta of the Nile River. Okay, so those are the two that I'm thinking about the most. You can't argue with geology. Have a good day. Yeah, I'm not arguing with geology. I'm arguing with the scientists. Okay. So anyways, and the story about these deltas is a little bit more complicated than what I'm laying it out. But that's not my purpose to dig into details. So anyways, these deltas that have formed specifically the Mississippi River. I can't say for all rivers, okay? So if you know of other rivers, I just learned about the Amazon River. The Amazon River doesn't have a delta. Very interesting. I guess if a river is wide enough and big enough, then okay, I guess wide enough and big enough. Once a river gets old enough or wide enough and big enough, I guess the delta would come. And also, it has to have, the ocean has currents, and so the ocean currents will wash away all the debris that would normally be sitting there as a result of the river. So the Nile River flows into the Mediterranean Sea, so it doesn't have the currents that the Atlantic Ocean has. So anyways, okay, yeah, that's more specifics. I did not know there are rivers that flow into the ocean that do not have deltas, and that's good to know. That's good to know. Okay, I'm here to learn and piece it. It's all a big puzzle, man. It's all a big puzzle. So anyways, but that's one of the dating things for 4,400 years ago. So let's see here. What else is there? Yeah, that's the rivers, Great Barrier Reef, Sahara Desert, world's oldest tree, human written down human recorded history. That all goes back about 4,400 years ago. And boy, trying to describe all this timeline stuff, there's a lot of details I could have left out. Anyways, okay, but that right there, bada bing, brings us to today for the creationist timeline. So the Earth is 4,400 years, the oldest tree, oldest desert, oldest barrier reef, oldest the Earth's deltas, the language, all dates the Earth you know, all all dates are approximately 4,400, 4,300, 5,000. You know, right about the time of Noah's flood. That's whenever they all got started. Creation science is an oxymoron. No, I don't. I disagree. I disagree. Science, whenever you look at it from a creationist, the perspective of a person who believes in the Bible, nah, I don't think it's. I don't think that, you know, maybe English, you know, puts it in a negative light, being an oxymoron. But what's up, Stephen Finneran? Yeah. So anyways, but just the English language is the reason that that's a negative. It's not a negative thing. It's all right. So creation science, it's great. It's great. Okay, the oldest tree is older than 4,400 years old. Okay, the bristlecone pine tree. They date that. The dates of the bristlecone pine tree. It's kind of complex due to tree ring dating, but we're not getting into that. And I think that they, you know, due to tree ring dating, they've been able to determine, oh man, here we've got something that was 8,000 years old or something like that. I think that, you know, tree ring dating is it's pretty complex, but the Earth's oldest living tree, even if it is older than 4,400 years old, even if it's 5,000 years old, it's still right there. It's still right there. Okay, if it's 5,000 or it's even 6,000, you know, that just means, you know, in particular years it was producing more rings. Tree rings do not actually mean, it's not one tree ring per year. You could have one tree ring that could form several times. A tree can form several tree rings per year. Okay? You can have hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold, hot. Every time you get hot, you get a new tree ring. Yeah, that sort of thing. You could have, you know. So, anyways, let's see here. So that's the creationist timeline. Okay. Now I said I was coming here I want to talk about the Tartarian history. Okay, so timeline number 3. All right, we finally made it. And I'm tired. Timeline number 3 stretches back a long time. Like human history goes way back. And we don't even know how far it goes. Don't even know how far it goes at all for Tartaria. Who's heard of Tartaria before? If you've heard of Tartaria before, type in the number 5 for a high five. So, what got Tartaria started? I think it was people who went back and started looking at old photographs from the 1800s. And they started finding out that, number one, the photographs tell a very different story from what has been told to us in our textbooks over the course of American history. You know, what's been written down in our textbooks. It's a totally different story. So, whenever you look at these photos, they're very odd, they're very strange. and they include grand buildings, immensely large buildings that go up many stories with no elevators, no bathrooms, lots of rooms, and all of these. They have what is called World's Fairs, where the technology is shown to the world, and they come together in these World's Fairs, and they celebrate the grand magnificence of these buildings and all the technology that they have. And anyways, turns out that our latest the pictures, where it's like I don't even know where to go from this point. The pictures have a very unique contrast whenever you look at the buildings versus the people in the pictures, the way that they dress, the vehicles that they're riding in, such as the horse and buggy. So they have horse and buggies everywhere. They don't have cars. Not until you get into the closer. I think the first cars are going to be like at the very end of the 1800s. And these vehicles, it's just, these pictures reveal to us empty cities. They reveal to us a stark contrast between the population of the people. The population, the people that are living in these cities versus the buildings themselves. Like the buildings, they had to be made with advanced technology. The buildings had to be made with advanced technology. What are we talking about? Tartaria. Mud floods, meltology, Tartaria. We're talking about that. Yeah. So, whenever you look at these pictures, the mainstream narrative teaches that all these buildings were built, here in the United States, all these buildings were built with plaster and wood, and, they were built for a short-term World's Fair, and then destroyed in under 6 months later. And then some of the buildings and stuff still survive to this day. But you piece together a very complex story that's not from the photographs, that's not found in our textbooks. You don't find in the photographs. They had photography during the Civil War, but the pictures that they show us for the Civil War, it's like, was there a Civil War? Yeah, there's a lot of photographs that show us historical figures and people and posing for the pictures, dressed in Civil War outfits, but it's like, it's all like they're actors in these pictures. It's like they aren't actually who we're being told that they are. Let's see, photographs for rare. Photographs are rare back then. Yeah. However, we have I think hundreds of thousands of photographs from back then. We have like lots of photography to go over. And the problem is that the photography doesn't tell us the story that we've been told in our textbooks. Things don't look the way you want them to. So truth means they are all lies. So that means they are all lies. Things don't want the way you want them to. Yeah, the way that I want them to look is, I want them. A picture tells 1,000 words. So, how many words does a paragraph in one of your textbooks, in your history textbooks, how much does a paragraph say in one of your history textbooks? If a picture tells 1,000 words, and then you got a paragraph describing what the events of that day, it doesn't even have to describe that picture, but you got a picture and you got a paragraph of the same event. A paragraph describing the same event and a picture of that event. Okay? The picture should match what's written down in the paragraph. Because with the paragraph, all you have is what's been written down. With the picture, a picture tells 1,000 words. So, what we have presented to us, whenever we put all these pictures together, we have a history that is laid out before us with all these photographs that don't make any sense. They don't make technological sense, because the people at that time don't match the architecture. Let's see. You want 4K slow-mo of the Civil War? What's wrong with the Civil War pics? And of course, I'm just telling you all this off my head. Everything I'm talking about comes from videos I have watched off of YouTube. And if you think about everything that I learned to convince me of the Civil War versus everything that I've learned to learn about Tartaria, I am being far more convinced by what I'm seeing about Tartaria than I am seeing what is presented to us in our history books. It's much easier to lie on a YouTube video than it is to lie in textbooks. Now, the problem is with the textbooks, the people who write those textbooks have to maintain the mainstream narrative. If something doesn't fit the mainstream narrative, they throw it out. So there is an agenda versus the internet hive mind, which is a whole bunch of people with nothing to lose. These people right now I'm getting on here, I am part of the internet hive mind right now. I'm telling you about the Tartaria theory. The theory of Tartaria. I'm telling you about Tartaria, what we see in these pictures. It's just fact checked. Yeah, whenever you check it with the mainstream narrative, you're gonna get, whenever you check something with you watch a YouTube video and you check it with the mainstream narrative, you're gonna come up with two narratives. One narrative is the mainstream narrative, and then the other narrative is something that the other person is saying, hey, things don't match up here. There's something off. There's something not right. Whenever you look at the photographs, you go back and you get all the old photographs that you can get, and you start analyzing those photographs. You start to find out that the technology doesn't match up. The people in the photos, they are super weird. Have you ever seen any photos from like the oldest of people at the beach, like oldest photos that exist of people, oldest video footage. We have video footage of people at the beach. They don't know how to beach. It's like, why wouldn't anybody? You go out to the beach, you go out and swim. It's like, how is going to the beach not something that is commonplace for people who actually live near the beach? If you live close enough to the beach, it's like, everybody's gonna, know how to beach. But you look at these you look at these pictures, all these images, it just looks like a bunch of people who are like they're just out on the beach, and it's like, why are all these people on the beach at this time in history dressed in those weird looking clothes? I mean, like, they're dressed in suits, and they're dressed, I mean, like, they don't have bathing suits and stuff. Let's see. Someone wore pants to the beach, so the past is fake. That is ludicrous. No, it's not just someone. It's like a whole bunch of people. Okay? And all these people out on the beach, like, at this time in history, the population, okay, it's like, I drive down the beach today. I live on the beach in Gulfport, Mississippi. And there isn't that many people on the beach that go to the beach, ever. Ever. The beach never, like the one time whenever the beach has the most people, it's like, there's like a wedding. And all you're going to see is like 20 to 50 people. That's it. It's the pictures shows, oh man, my video, I've been going for 3 hours already, y'all. So anyways, the pictures that, we look at for these people on the beach, it just like, it's just so many people going to the beach, and it's just like, it looks like they've never been to the beach before. It's like they don't have anything to shade themselves from the sun. I would think that going to the beach would, you would need something to shade yourself from the sun. You'd come up with a tent. There would be tents all over the beach, because there's no regulation. There's nothing regulating what you put out on the beach either. Somebody says, get a hobby. This is my hobby. Okay? That's how they dressed back then. Sure. Okay. Yeah, that is how they dressed back then. You're right. Okay. You've come to a conclusion way too early. Keep looking into it. But don't assume your answer yet. Let me see here. Wow, this is still recording. Good. I want to keep it going because I'm going to edit this whole long thing that I'm doing into a video. So anyways, you've got like mud streets. That's another huge thing. You got empty cities, like San Francisco is there's a picture that exists, and pictures of cities all over the world, not just San Francisco, and Moscow, Russia, Paris, France, like all these cities that are just built out, and there's very few people in these photographs, okay? And I know the mainstream narrative, okay? The mainstream narrative says that the photographs, it took a long time to expose the photographs, and it could not capture something if it was moving. All right, but eventually, you get to the point where you should start seeing the technology should advance with photography, where you should start seeing people, them capturing people, people moving in the pictures everywhere, and that's not what we get. We don't ever get technology where there's people like walking around and the photographs they capture an image and then you got people moving around and it's blurry. This person walked across the street, so you see a blur from a person walking across the street. It's like it just doesn't show us it's like what you would expect to see in these photographs. Let's see. You've come to a conclusion way too early. Okay, I already read that. So anyways, you got the muddy streets with all this advanced buildings. You've got to have advanced technology to build these buildings. You can't just be using hammers and chisels and pulleys and big shovels, and big carts that can hold lots of dirt. I guess you could have a really big cart that can hold a lot of dirt, but you've got to be able to lift to build these buildings. Some of these buildings are 13, 14 stories high. It's like we didn't have cranes back then. No, there wasn't electrical tools to build these buildings. Some of these buildings go really deep into the ground. Every major city has a whole entire tunnel system underneath the city, made with bricks. Somebody went and put the bricks together, and what was it called whenever you put two bricks together? You put the stuff in between the bricks to hold the bricks together. Anyways, the concrete to hold the bricks together. It's like they have all these tunnels underneath the city. It's like, it gets to the point where the mainstream narrative doesn't actually tell us how these tunnels got there. Mortar. Thank you. Yes. Okay. So it doesn't actually tell us how these tunnels actually got there. The mainstream narrative doesn't really, all the catacombs with all the skulls and all the millions and millions of bones that somebody meticulously piled up these bones and created all these artistic designs using people's skeletons. All the catacombs. It's like, and that's just the catacombs that we know about. How many more catacombs are there that we don't know about? It's like Area 51. Oh yeah, Area 51, everybody knows about Area 51. But how many more secret underground military bases are there that nobody knows about? Probably a ton. It's like they're probably all over the world. They're probably all connected by tunnels that go underneath the ground. I suspect that by now they probably have tunnel systems that go underneath the ocean. They probably have like entire civilizations that live underground and underneath the ocean. It's like the Tartaria, okay? These buildings and a lot of these buildings are like they have floors that go below ground level. These buildings, like these huge buildings, have floors that extend below ground level. Like the Lincoln Memorial, it's built in the middle of a swamp or something like that. I've never been there, but it's like it's built in the middle of a swamp and it has a lower level below it. It's like they built the building with a lower level. They dug a hole, built the building with a lower level, and there's this whole entire lower level that they've now turned into a museum underneath the Lincoln Memorial, and it's like, it's like, but they didn't know that they forgot about the lower level for decades. I mean, like, there were roots growing into the Lincoln Memorial, the lower level of the Lincoln, not roots, I'm sorry. It was stalactites and stalagmites that were forming in the lower level of the Lincoln Memorial that were forming there for decades. It's like they built the lower level of the Lincoln Memorial, and then nobody went back under there for decades. And stalactites and stalagmites formed. Let's see. You have any family awake to F? Yeah, we all know it's flat. There's a roundabout in ED under ocean. Oh, in EU, European Union, under the ocean. Yeah. There's a roundabout. Yep. Yeah, they have a whole underground. I do know that they have a underground railway connecting Europe to the Great Britain. I do know that they have that. I saw the documentary detailing, them digging this railway underneath the English Channel, and they got this railway that goes underneath the English Channel, and So I mean, like, yeah. It's I say railway. Maybe it's be more appropriate to say subway, right? So anyways, these things have to be all over the world, and they're steadily making more. They're not anywhere close to like slowing down making these things. They're still making more and more. So, okay, back to Tartaria. So we got the pictures, we got the photographs, we got the buildings, and the buildings that extend underneath the ground, and so it lets us know that these buildings are actually way bigger than what we can see out above the surface. So, anyways, all this is coming together and forming. It's like we conclude. Whenever I say we, I'm on their side. I'm on their team. I believe that the history that we've been presented in the textbooks, the mainstream narrative, I believe that we've been lied to. So, I've seen enough of the Tartarian history from the internet hive mind to know that what we've been told in history isn't true. So, let's see here. What else is there? Yes, the timeline itself. How far back does it go? So you've got human population, which is another very serious thing. If you know about Kent Hovind's seminar, and you've watched Kent Hovind's seminar, you would know that human population is I forgot to mention this, but human population is another way of dating Noah's flood. Uh-oh. About to lose one of my live. Ooh, I've already lost one of my live streaming things because the battery went dead. So, anyways, let me see how I'm doing with this. Oh man, let's keep it going. Okay, so anyways, so human population, you got the Georgia Guidestones. The Georgia Guidestones say that human population should not exceed 500 million. If you've seen Kent Hovind's seminar, one of the ways that we date the flood is human population, and if evolution was true, human population would be crazy right now. But according to creation science, the 6,000-year-old Earth, 4,400 years ago, went as a result of the flood, and then you take into account sickness and disease and people living short lifespans and technology being like completely lost. Not lost to us, but us always living in a primitive society with no electricity for 4,000 years, and human population always stayed below. Guess what number until the 1750s? 500 million, just like the Georgia Guidestones say. And then about the 1750s, human population began to grow, and now it's growing at an exponential rate, and we have reached approximately 8 billion people on the Earth. Okay? Yeah, so human population is a really good thing to watch out for whenever you're talking about Tartaria, because they built all these buildings in spite of human population, in spite of how many people were in the area. They built these huge, immaculate buildings, and just mountain-sized buildings in some cases. Small mountains, like the Parthenon and the Greek Acropolis in Athens. They just built these huge buildings, megalithic buildings, and they they didn't have the population. They didn't have enough people to justify these gigantic buildings. Everything you thought you knew in life has been a lie. Shannon, say about your feelings. Hey, thanks for hitting that follow button. Amazing, those buildings are still around. Yep. So anyways, the human population, so we can deduce that the human population has been growing since the 1750s. So I am proposing that there was a bottleneck. There was a whole bunch of people who were unalived at that time. There was a genocide of the human population about the 1700s to 1750s, somewhere in that time. And ever since then, the human population has been growing up to where it is today, 8 billion people. Let's see. It was a reset. That's right. So, approximately 250, 275 years ago, 300 years ago, there was a human bottleneck that occurred just 300 to 500 years ago. And all these buildings survived this genocide. Let's see. Look up the orphan trains, Cabbage Patch Kids. Yeah, the orphan trains, Cabbage Patch Kids, the storks, the incubators. I've seen all this stuff. I know about it. Yep, the mud floods, meltology, and and also erosion is a much smaller subject, but erosion needs to be accounted for. No, can't forget about erosion. Erosion does a lot to these buildings also. A lot to the buildings and statues and stuff. So, so there was a bottleneck of humanity approximately 300 years ago. So there's your time. There's your new timeline. Okay? Creation science doesn't have this bottleneck. And evolutionary timeline doesn't have this bottleneck. So you've got this third timeline that includes a bottleneck of humanity. You got 3 timelines of history. Keep spreading the truth, brother. Yes, thank you, Shannon. I appreciate that. Don't forget to share my live stream, share my channel. So you got this approximately 300 years ago. Now, how many bottlenecks have occurred? There's been a lot of resets. Absolutely. A lot of resets. All right, I'm just going to close Clapper down. Yeah, there's been a lot of resets. So, reached 600 people with that live stream over on Clapper. Okay, yeah, so there's been a lot of resets. And how many resets are there? Well, we know there's been one. Noah's flood was a reset. There's 2. Tower of Babel was a reset. From the Bible, Tower of Babel was a reset. Sodom and Gomorrah, I believe that Sodom and Gomorrah was a reset. And then there's another Tohu Wabohu moment that's described in the book of Jeremiah. At the time of Jeremiah, I think there was a reset at the time of Jeremiah. So that's 4 resets. The Bible prophesies a reset after the tribulation. Well, the whole tribulation is probably a reset. And then it prophesies, and that's at the beginning of the millennium. Then it prophesies another reset after the millennium is over. We know that there's been a ton of resets, and they even happen in smaller, like you hear about a volcanic explosion, killing off Pompeii. That was a reset. Every time you have a new empire, I believe that those are inheritors. I don't think that the empire was actually just, 2 empires. I think that, you got the Greeks. They were inheritors. They didn't build the Acropolis. They didn't build the city-states. The Romans, they were inheritors. They didn't build all the stuff that we say that they built. They were definitely going back and reverse engineering, and they probably built some stuff like the Romans might have actually built the roads. I don't know though. I don't know for sure. But the Mongolians might have been inheritors. Genghis Khan. That might have been, as a result, some sort of reset. But then there's also a lot of history that we can look at and we can say, oh, this can't be true. Like Genghis Khan. You go back and you look at Genghis Khan, you look at Napoleon, it's like, there's a lot of stuff about them that just is like too fantastical for it to it's like we can't do this stuff today. There aren't people alive today doing this stuff. So, anyways, there's been a ton of resets, and as a result, we don't, with the Tartarian timeline, we don't know how old the Earth is at all. We don't know how long we've been doing this, but you can go back and you watch the Matrix movies. The Matrix, the Matrix talks about resets with the architect. The architect, he says that, they have reset the Matrix 6 times. Or he says, not reset the Matrix, but he says that they have destroyed the Zion, the city of Zion, 6 times. And, every time they get better and better at it. So, anyways, it's in the Matrix. Okay? And Morpheus explains to Neo that he doesn't know what year it is. That humanity has lost all track of time, and they don't know what year it is. I honestly believe that is our situation today. We've been given this mainstream narrative of history, and everybody is like, oh, we live in the year 2024 right now. It's like, I don't think so. Whenever you take into account the calendar change that happened from that changed from the Gregorian calendar over to the Julius Caesar changed the calendar. Augustus changed the calendar. There was a change with the Gregorian calendar. What calendar are we using right now? Is it the Gregorian calendar? I don't know. I can't remember. So, what calendar are we using? And then you go back and you find out that our year is actually 13 months long, that an actual real year is 13 months long with, you take into account that, let's see, it's been a little while since I've looked at this, but you got July, that was named after Julius Caesar. He added a month. You got August, that was named after Augustine, who changed. I think he's the one who actually changed the calendar. Then after August, you got September, Sept, which means 9. You've got October, Oct, which means 10. Was that right? No, Sept means 7. Sorry. Sept for September means 7. You got September, October, which means 8. Oct means 8. November means 9. And Nov for November means 9. December, Deci, December means 10. Then you got January, February, March, and April. So April, the beginning of spring, was actually the new year. Now, what I don't know what you got January, February, March, and April. Anyways, I don't know all the specifics, but the new year was actually the beginning of spring. So yeah. Yeah. So anyways, we don't know what year we're in. It's not the year 2023. We don't know what year it is. And that that whenever you start looking at the calendar, human populations, all the photographs, all the buildings, they paint a totally different story from anything else, from the other two timelines, evolutionary timeline and creation science timeline, 6,000-year-old Earth. They paint a totally different story, and we don't. I still believe the Bible. I still believe that the Noah's flood probably happened approximately 4,000 years ago, 4,400 years ago, and the Earth might still be 6,000 years old, but we have lost all track of time. We don't know what year we're in. We don't know what time it is. So that's where we are. That's it. That took me, how long have I been talking? 2 hours and 15 minutes to explain all three timelines. And of course, I said a lot of stuff I probably didn't need to say. But, anyways, that's it. I'm going to talk about this again later. Anybody out there got any shout outs, recommendations, comments, suggestions, complaints, exchanges, or refunds? Anybody want to drop a gift? Okay, yeah, don't forget to follow, subscribe, like, hit that like button, drop a gift. Okay, I'll talk to you guys later. You have a good night.